Hello there, welcome to my Justice and Jail tutorial for Dwarf Fortress. In this video, I'm going to cover everything regarding topics like guard captains, crimes, interrogation, punishments, fortress guard, the hammer, how to build a good jail. All of these things we'll see answers in this video. So to get started, let's talk about how do you activate your justice system? That's by assigning you a captain of the guard or the sheriff. If your fortress is still small, it's a sheriff. If it's larger than 50 people, it's a captain of the guard. The captain of the guard doubles up as a militia commander and as the head executive of your justice system. So when we assign that person, we get people sorted out due to their tactician skill, because that's of importance here. So the captain of the guard will be the person who does the interrogations and all these things, so social skills do matter. All in all, the moment you have assigned a captain of the guard, you have practically enabled the justice system. The sheriff or the captain's going to go and persecute crimes, and when you head on over into the Justice tab and you select Convicts, you will see whoever is going to receive a punishment or is guilty of a crime. Which brings me right to the next topic. What are punishable crimes? We see here violation of production order. The counterpart to that is violation of export bans. These come from your noblemen. That's when you don't make the mandates happen. That's the punishment for that. Other punishable crimes are murder, theft, and espionage. Pretty clear what they do. Espionage, though, to clarify, it's pretty much only foreign forces, and that means you gotta be careful with people from outside. They might be part of an espionage plot. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later when we get into the interrogation system, though. And the other punishable crimes are disorderly conduct, building destruction, and vandalism. These are practically all code words for one thing: throwing a tantrum. So these crimes can and will see punishments. What kind of punishments? The Dwarven society knows 3 punishments for their people. The lowest one is the beating, but actually that's pretty brutal and if possible should be avoided. Then is prison time, and then comes the hammering, which is practically the equal to a execution in a typical medieval society. Therefore, for a hammering, you require a hammerer, and to fulfill a hammering, you require a rope and a chain mounted somewhere. Otherwise, not gonna happen. If any punishment cannot be fulfilled in this game, it's always going to get downgraded until you reach the point of a beating. So if hammering can't be fulfilled, it's not going to get transformed into prison, it's going to get transformed into beating. If prison can't be fulfilled, beating. So by all means, it's pretty important if you want to avoid people getting maimed for life, because sometimes these beatings can escalate quite quickly. You should always try to fulfill the prison sentences. Alright, so much about punishments, except for one thing that I want to add. A couple of people are not part of the punishment and crime system, and those are children, insane people, and dwarves under a strange mood. These can be part of a crime, but they cannot be punished for a crime, because you won't punish a child for a crime. That's just as it is. So these are the punishment things. I'm going to talk about the fortress guard and the hammerer now a little bit more closely. So whenever a beating needs to be fulfilled, the fortress guard will jump in. The fortress guard is a known squad that you can found as soon as you have access to the captain of the guard. So as you create a new squad, you see here, captain of the guard squad. These are basically your policemen. Whenever justice needs to be served in your fortress, this squad will fulfill. So the leader is always going to be the captain of the guard, well, as the name implies, and you can assign as many people as you want to. So here's the deal. With the fact that these people are part of a squad, this opens up the option for you to decide what kind of gear they wear. It does make a huge difference if a beating is done by an armed or an unarmed dwarf. You can also mitigate the damage by bringing up training weapons or things like these. The same applies to the hammerer. You can bring the hammerer into your squad here, or in any squad, and assign a specific suit of gear for them. This menu here allows you to assign all manner of different things. With those buttons below, you can tell them exactly what they're supposed to wield and wear. Since everybody can only wield one weapon, you can single out the instruments of justice pretty decently with that. So this sums up to however you want to play it. You can bring up full-on roleplay immersion and get yourself a scary as hell fortress guard that nobody wants to trifle with, and people that get in the way of justice will have its way. Or you make yourself a couple of tame dogs. The other thing to note is, if you don't have a hammerer at all, you won't do any hammerings. We will only have beatings. So you don't need to assign a hammerer at the same time. So there are things, as you can see, I hope I have brought up enough options how you can bring up the justice system to your liking, because I think that's a really important thing to note about this game's justice system. You can use the parts as you like them to use. So, enough about the Fortress Guard and the Hammerer. Let's finally get into the interrogation system. So when you open up these scales, here you have the open cases menu. This is where you can do all the interrogations. These happen in the office of your guards captain. So let's quickly assign our guards captain the stuff that he wants. He wants a bedroom, and he wants the office and his own dining room, but I'll stop at the office because it's, for the sake of demonstration here, not too important. He's going to be a little bit unhappy about that, but it's okay. So I'll quickly assign this area here also as a dungeon. This is going to be important for a later stage, part of this video. So, interrogations. When you want to know something about an open case, you know, there's crimes which get immediately put into conviction because, you know, those mandates, for example, the mayor does exactly know who's been busy exporting these things. And take note that everybody who's been exporting or carrying anything to the trade depot is a culprit if there's a sudden case of export bans. These are pretty harsh. So all in all, there are clear crimes, but there are also a lot of unclear crimes like murder, theft, espionage, and these all show up here. So when you have a case of tantrums here, my list is full of it, you can click one and then you can pick up anybody you want to interrogate. This includes every person of your fortress, every dwarf there, but also, interestingly enough, every animal and monster in the caves that you know of, also lots of dead people. You cannot interview them for real. I really don't know why they are in the list in the first place. Let me know if you know. And the gist of it is here, you can interrogate pretty much everybody if they know something about that crime specifically. But people can spill their beans when they get interrogated. So dwarves never do mind being interrogated, and outsiders also not really, because they're not part of your fortress. You don't need to worry about their happiness in the first place. So interrogate outsiders, and sometimes you uncover plots that weren't there yet. It can happen that an interrogation of outside forces leads to new open cases popping up, like espionage or stuff like that, because some outsider was not part of this tantrum here, but they were scared and they told your god's captain things that were not even part of the current crime. That can happen. Therefore, interrogations are a powerful tool to uncover crimes around you, and it's worth interrogating each and everybody around you, especially those newcomers, if you want to stay on track with things in your fortress and avoid your artifacts being stolen. Or you just let it roll and you don't worry too much about it and get after these things once they happen. It's your choice. Again, I'll just want to introduce the tools that you have. So once cases are fully closed here, they land there, and cold cases are the ones that haven't been never cleared. And this one is also quite important. It's a good interlude to the next topic. That's jails. Your fortress does have a desire for a certain amount of cages and chains in the dungeons, so try to fulfill that number. Try to have at least 15 chains and try to have no cages. I'll explain why in a minute. But Most importantly, as long as this number is not fulfilled, your guards captain will be constantly frustrated about the lack of cages in this and chains in this fortress. This is the minimum that your fortress requires for a happy guards captain. And I'm sorry for the misclick. The convicts are here, and here we have the intelligence system. I want to show you one interrogation, how it goes, and then we're heading on over to the jail system. So we're going to interrogate somebody, and I know who's actually the culprit. It's that haggard child. And as soon as you have put this on the schedule, as you see here, your guards captain afterwards will do as soon as possible what he's supposed to do. Also, if you want your guards captain to be really busy with what you want him to do, get on over to the labor system and let him really only do what he's supposed to do. So this way he won't be picking up any random tasks. So the next thing he should do should be either imprisoning the guy that's supposed to land in the prison, or interrogating the child. So let's talk quickly while we're watching our good man Ushrir doing his job. Let's talk about jails. Then I'm going to show you what buttons to push to get the interrogation details. So jails. Why don't install a cage? Why use a chain? The thing is, when a dwarf is locked to a chain, he can still move around the chain. If he's locked into a cage, he cannot move at all, and he is going to need other dwarfs taking care of him. And here we have the interrogation done, and therefore chains are already superior because they allow more comfort for your dwarfs. And if you do it right, you can even make your prison a pretty happy place. But let's get into the interrogation menu real quick. So once you have done your first interrogation, the intelligence menu grows interesting. Here we can see the reports of the interrogations. So when you click that, you get a little bit of a report, what the guards captain did. You get here an overview about the actors of any things that have happened, organizations or plots if they are uncovered. In this scenario, of course, I don't have any. But most importantly now, we have here a confession. So we could go over to the open cases, get over to the disorderly conduct, click convict, and as you see here, we have now one witness. We know he's guilty. We have convicted him, and now this is no longer a case to work around. But look there, he's now also in the convicts menu, but due to the fact that children are not going to get punished in the system, that's why there's no sentence pending. So here the other guy, well, I don't know why he didn't get imprisoned. Maybe he got a beating because the game didn't realize the jail was already there, the chain wasn't there. But let's talk about jails. So first off, you need to use the dungeon function to assign something as a jail. Then you can use the fact that jail time is also lifetime, 57 days. The guy has to spend some time in there. So to make the best out of your jails, you can make it a real worthwhile stay. First off, take care that the chain that you use is of a high quality, of a high value material, and you might even encrust it with gems. Why? Your dwarf will be busy staring at it and being like, wow, that's a beautiful chain, man. Sucks to be in prison, but chain. So that's really a thing. They will have happy thoughts because of the insane quality of the chain. Yeah, that's the thing. So the other thing that you can do, only because your dwarf is in prison doesn't mean he doesn't have to have comfort. So you can put in a chair and a table so they can eat like an actual dwarven being. The next thing that you can do is you can also give them a bed, because why not? They can put themselves into a bed when they're chained up. Sure, why not? Next thing, to make sure, your dwarf needs some food and some drinks. So put up 1 cell wide thingies here, get on over to the food, make sure you get some prepared meals. Link that one to the stockpile where you have your meals via this button, and somebody will constantly carry meals down here. And don't worry, as long as the meals are part of a stockpile like that, they won't go bad, so you don't need any barrels. So the other thing you will want to put up is another stockpile for drinks. So you put up food and you get on over to plant drinks, mark all, so every kind of drink will be accepted, link that up to your drink stockpile, so your dwarf will also have some decent stuff to drink. And last but not least, you get on over to the finished goods pile and make sure that you have some goblets delivered to this thing. And then, well, my personal approach is this: go for all, then everything here is marked, all the materials are marked, and then we only mark the goblets. So this stockpile, again, link it to your finished goods stockpile with this one, and this is a already almost perfect prison cell. The only thing lacking now is a nice smoothed and engraved environment, just like upstairs here. And by the end of all these preparations, you will have a prison cell that will ultimately make your dwarf even happy, because there's just so much luxury around them and they're just squatting all day that they actually, maybe you're going to get the wrong impulses to your dwarfs with that, but you get the idea. This is how you can make jail time not produce even more unhappy dwarfs. And by all means, try to have prison cells that have these characteristics out of one simple reason, because it really helps you to mitigate happiness losses due to the justice system. Because whenever somebody receives a beating, not only do they become really unhappy, and well, that's pretty clear, you know, it's no fun to get a beating, but the guard will be happy. Weird, isn't it? But the point is, beatings can really destroy workers in the long run, and that's a pretty bad thing, and you really, really don't want that to happen. Therefore, have enough prisons, stack them out like that, and the justice system will roll. So that's all I have to say about this topic. I hope you found that helpful. Feel free to leave me your comments down below. If you have any questions, ask away. If you feel like I have missed anything really important, if you want to add in something cool, feel free to. I always love to hear from you guys. The comment section is such a font of knowledge by now. Appreciate it. So thumbs up on that video if you want to make it more visible for other people, and consider subscribing, of course, if you haven't done so already. I do stuff like that almost daily, and chances are you're going to like to stay informed by hitting that bell thing. Last but not least, playlist is in the description box, full of other tutorials, so you might want to check that out. And now to the last thing. Thanks to all the supporters of this channel. You guys are really, really amazing. And check out the support links down there to Patreon, PayPal, and Buy Me a Coffee if you want to. And if not, take my thanks for watching this video until the very end. I really appreciate people who bear with me through these ad rolls, because that means you really like to watch my videos, and that makes me really happy. That's worth more than money. So have a wonderful day, and see you soon, mate.